What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Jet's Fishing Adventures. And in this video, this is a Tackle Tuesday, and we're going to show you how to spool up a reel, how I spool up a baitcaster, the cheapest way. You know, getting a high quality fluorocarbon can be expensive. This Tatsu, it's a great line, but it is expensive. So not using as much line to fill up a spool, that's going to save you a lot of money. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I do it. So like I said before, fluorocarbon can be very expensive, and when you're only using about half the spool anyway, it gets really expensive. You waste half of it. So one of the easy cash saving tips that I do is I actually go to my local Walmart and go into the fishing line section, and I literally get the cheapest line that I can find. This whole 700 yards was $2.90. Very cheap. I get about 12 pound, try to get what I usually throw. This reel right here, I'm going to be throwing a chatterbait on. So I'm going to run 15 pound, and 15 pound fluorocarbon is about 12 pound, around that size, monofilament, which this is the Zepco Omniflex. Doesn't matter what brand you get, just go to Walmart and get the cheapest one you can get. Alright, so the first and foremost, you want to make sure you don't have any line on the reel. As you can tell, this is a brand new reel. It's a Lew's speed spool. I won it at the Tennessee Bass Nation, so I got lucky on that. But I'm going to throw a chatterbait on this rod. So I'm actually going to pair this Lew's with the Little Miami 7'3" medium heavy. Really good rod, one of my favorites. But anyway, we're going to start off by getting my cheap line. And what you want to do, I like to just put it back in my tray of line. And so first you want to run it through the guides. You don't have to run it through all the guides. I personally like to do it because then that's how it goes back on the spool. Cut a little bit off, get a straight edge right there. So run that line through the spool. Once you do it enough, you'll get pretty quick at it. Which I'm a young guy, so I can still see pretty good. So that makes it a little bit easier. I know some of the older guys have trouble, but get you a high quality pair of eyeglasses and it'll help you. But we've ran it all the way through the guides, so now we're going to run it through the not sure exactly what that's called. I'll link it right here. So we got to run it right through here, and then if you look on this spool, you got little, I like to do it that way anyway, and run it through one of those little, you can try to loop it around, but I like to get a little bit of line, run it right through that little hole. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to do, but run it right through the hole, and then gently run your hand around it, and then that way you got it looped. So all you want to do is just tie a simple knot. I usually just do an overhand knot. If a fish pulls your line all the way to this, you're probably not going to catch that fish anyway, so that's how I say about that. But I just do a simple little overhand knot. Do like one or two. That way it gets the, you want it to be right in the middle and right up close to it, because you don't want to fill it. So as you can tell, there's my knot. So you want to take a pair of scissors or a pocket knife, whatever you have handy. You want to snip that little excess off, and now we'll start to reel. So now we start to reel. So ideally you want to get all the line wrapped around everything that you can possibly get it wrapped around, because that really tells you, that's how real life is. So you just want to wrap it around every little thing. And so now we're just going to reel it. And if you watch me, how I'm reeling it, I'm trying to keep this line parallel with the rod and try to get an even spool. I'll be sitting here like this, and what I want to fill this cheap line halfway up this reel, or this spool. So if you start noticing it getting lopsided, all you gotta do is move this hand to the side that's getting less. As you can see, it's getting a little lopsided on this, so I'm gonna move my hand down. And it should start not getting lopsided. And there we go. Now we can get it back in the middle. We're gonna reel it up, or spool it up to about halfway with this cheap monofilament. So if you notice, we're about halfway to the spool. So now we're going to stop with this cheap monofilament. We'll pull it over here, and again, you have to get it hung up on every little thing. So after getting it hung up on every little thing,
5 minutes later.
Alright, we are back. You know it's hot in the south when you're literally recording for about 10 minutes and your phone overheats. But right before my phone shut off, just cut the line from the cheap monofilament. So now, with the spool being halfway spooled up, you want to take your good line, your Seaguard line, I recommend. You want to tie just a very simple, I like the double uni, just a very simple leader knot. So we're going to put this back in here. A lot of people actually put it in like big old thing of water. I've never had an issue with it when you're unspooling, but I'm just going to tie a simple little double uni. Come over here. I've actually done a video about doing this in the past, so it's not real hard. Come over here. Loop it. I usually just do 4 times with this setup. You don't want the knot being real big because you don't want to fill it. So try to do it as few times that you feel safe with. So I just do about 4 times. Tighten her up. Sometimes you gotta use your teeth and tighten both up. So we got this little knot. Cut your tag ends off. And this is pretty important to make sure your tag ends are very close. There's not going to be any pressure on it, so if you do nick the knot at all, it's not a big deal. But now, since we got the backing line, now we're going to put on the expensive fluorocarbon, your main line. So do the same exact thing I told. You want it to be centered. You want to make sure you put a little bit of pressure on this so it spools up good. You don't want a lot of slack in it, but you want to make sure you get it even. So I'm getting a little low on this spool, so hopefully we have enough to finish this reel out. Back up a little bit, give her a little less tension. So you don't really want to overfill your spool. So we got it about like that right there. You don't want to get it up past it. So that's a good level. The bigger or the more you put on there, the further it casts. But you don't want to put it over too much because then when you go and cast it, you'll wasp nest really easy. But that's the way I spool my reels. For the cheapest, I can take even just this little bitty spools. You know, you get the small spools like this. You get the 200-yard spools. If you do this the way I just showed you, you can get 2, maybe even 3 spools or 3 reels with one of those 200 yards. Now, if you don't do what I just did, you go through a whole spool just filling up one. So in today's market, fluorocarbon can get really expensive, braid can get really expensive, and this is the way I use to save a lot of money, and I can easily unspool and change lines without wasting a lot of money too. So hopefully this video shows you a little bit and teaches you a little bit. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. we're on the road to 1500, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So we will see y'all next video.